My favorite boa constrictor, Nova, a sunglow from my first litter. My snake gave birth. Oh my god, it's so exciting. Okay, she's gonna be a little defensive, so. This is the first time that I've ever had a snake give birth, so it's really exciting.
I can only imagine the joy in my son's heart.
And the mother didn't eat them?
No.
She's good to them?
First baby.
You know that he was hoping and dreaming about one of his pets having babies, but to see it happen, it's like a miracle.
She has beautiful little bows already, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Most of us have phobia of snakes, but when you lose that phobia, you start to see beauty in the animal too. Yeah. Is there only 3 of them or 4?
3 albinos.
3 albinos?
I don't know if there's more. When I was like this tall, I wanted to work with animals. I really like them. I can kind of read them in a way. They don't speak, they don't make noises, so it's all body language. You can pet them. So she was my first holdback that I've raised and kept her whole life, and she's become a member of our family. She died around spring, early June this year, and I didn't make a video about it. I took a picture and I filmed, but I didn't make a video about it because I don't like to get people's attention by showing them dead animals. It's not what I'm about. I'd rather act like an idiot, make you laugh, make people think I'm dumb, and entertain people. And that's kind of like how I'd rather entertain you. I'd rather you laugh at me than feel sorry for me. And when I've seen other people, you know, lose their animals, like Brian Barchuk when he lost Princess, and other people, and they go online and they start crying about it and everything, I don't know, that's not me. If I'm got to do that, I do that on my own. I deal with that kind of my own way. It's not really for me to share with you or to use as entertainment. So one day I go to Nova's home and she's there and she's just dead. And I have no idea why. She didn't seem sick at all. She had no problems and she was doing everything the way she always did. And then she was dead. So what is there really to say? What could I do about that? I didn't know what to do. I didn't really want to share it. And I was curious, like, if there was like some sickness or what was happening, like, but I don't know. I have no idea. And with snakes, that can happen sometimes. Sometimes a reptile can just die for no reason, and it was just really crappy that it happened to be Nova. I didn't hide it from anyone. I just didn't feel the need to share it. And then some more things happened. Now I'm sharing that and sharing everything because I want to. I'm not forced to at all, but it's a long story, so let's go through everything. It's taken me a long time to make this video because I wasn't planning on any of this stuff to happen. I had my plan and everything, like how it was going, how, you know, progressing and whatever, and then a whole pile of crappy things happened, and it all came all at once. I haven't been super eager to do this or in the right frame of mind for a while, but now I am, so I want to walk you through the whole story, the steps that I went through, how I felt, what I believed and thought, and then how things have changed since talking to a lot of different people. How do I start this? To this day, I don't know why Nova died. I didn't get a necropsy done. I basically sent her to somebody who preserves animals and said that they could have her because I don't believe in wasting anything. So she'll at least be a display specimen for someone. A few years ago, a guy named Cody that goes by Leviathan Reptiles produced a Moonglow IMG male, and he was super excited about it and posted it all over Facebook and stuff, so I obviously saw that, and we were acquaintances, we knew each other, and one night, I don't know, I was just like, hey, I will, like, I know it's totally worth way more, whatever, but I'll give you a couple grand if you want to sell it, because he was trying to sell it and he couldn't. Eventually, he ended up giving me this snake for $2,000 and a female Moonglow. So about $3,000 basically. So I got this snake off him, and that was a really good deal. Don't tell anyone, like, who cares? Yeah, but yeah, so I got the snake for an amazing deal. Cody was fine. We never really had any issues or anything, except that later on when I did produce with this snake, I named the snake Nico. And I had been raising females for a long time now. I never bothered getting many males. I've just been slowly raising females, and Nova's one of them. Bo is another one. Like, I've slowly raised like 5 females that I've just grown for like 4 or 5 years, and I never bred them to anyone. If you've seen me, I haven't been pumping out snakes after snakes. I did my first year 1 litter, my second year of breeding 3 litters, and then the most litters I've ever had was 5. And then after that, all this stuff started happening. I ended up putting Nico to Nova and to Annie. And you guys know who Annie is. Annie is a snake that I rescued years ago, and she was in horrendous conditions. I'll tell you Annie's story, why not? I got into a big argument with my mother, who had a business with me at the time. She ran the spa and I ran the hair salon, and it was together in one building, and we were bickering. And I went on Kijiji, because back then I would go on Kijiji and see, I'd find people kind of getting rid of snakes and then rescuing them. So it was something that I like to do. I like to kind of take animals that are not doing well, get them better, and then rehome them, resell them, okay? And it's a lot more work than it is profit, but it was just something that I enjoyed doing. So I saw an ad on Kijiji for these snakes. One of them happened to be an Annery Motley female boa. So I was really kind of interested in her. I got in the car, I went all the way to this apartment building, and it was some people that were moving out of their apartment, and there were 3 snakes there. There were 4 snakes. One of them was a ball python that had laid eggs and was dead, and the other 3 were all just mite-infested animals. And there was a boa, a ball python, and another boa. Annie was one of them. So I took all these snakes home with me, even though I only really wanted Annie. I knew that if I didn't take all those snakes with me, that they were good as dead. They looked like they were gonna die anyways. So I brought them home, and I treated them all for mites using the Nix method. And that's the method I've only had to treat snakes for mites like couple times, and this is all like almost like 10 years ago. It's before we lived in our last place, so this is all at least 7 years ago. I spent hours cleaning them, treating them, soaking them in Gatorade, and just cleaning up these animals, because I don't want them anywhere near any of my other animals. So I lived in a 1,000 square foot open space loft. So I had the snakes over here, my animals on one side, and I kept them on the other until I had gone through their treatments and made sure that they got better. They all made full recoveries, and the 2 other snakes went to new homes, and I kept Annie with me.
Probably hasn't moved or eaten in a while.
After treating him and washing him a whole pile of times, he's looking way better, thank goodness. But he's still got mites and he's got a mouth problem. But I think he'll be okay. And Annie, I kept for years, and she totally healthy, totally normal snake. So I did end up breeding her, and she gave me a perfect litter. We had a beautiful litter of all healthy animals. She fully recovered from that, and then years later, I get the snake from Cody. I put the snake to Nova and to Annie. Both of them get pregnant. Nova has a litter, and Annie slugs out. So I just had basically those two litters, and I kept Nova's litter, and they were all sun glows, moon glows, snows, because we put a sun glow to a moon glow. Now, the thing that was tricky with this litter is that there's supers in there. So how do I know which snakes are IMG, which snakes are not, and none of them scream IMG? So because none of them scream IMG, I reach out to Cody, and now we're in pandemic now, okay? So we're in pandemic and everyone's avoiding everyone, but I really even though I didn't pay what Nico was worth, I still bought the snake off of him, and he was not willing to really help me at all with identifying or anything. I'm just like, is there any way you could come by, take a look, tell me which ones are IMG? I asked all sorts of people which ones, and nobody thought that there's any IMGs in the litter. So this is a bit of a nightmare, right? Because I'm just like, I don't want to sell these snakes as IMGs if they're not IMG. I won't do that. And I don't want to sell them as non-IMGs if they are, because it's just like, do you want to sell a $2,000 snake for $500 and then, you made that investment, you put in that time, and then somebody else kind of gets to benefit from that because, you were dumb. I didn't sell any of them. I kept them all. I kept them and I raised them. Then the next year, I bred Nico to a normal female because this normal female was het snow because she was a normal. So now I knew that when I breed Nico to this normal, I'm not going to have any supers in the litter. I had a full litter of 20-something babies, and none of them looked IMG either. And I'm not breeding any other snakes because I don't, I've never wanted to just pump out a pile of snakes. I'd rather have 1 or 2 banger litters, and that's good. That's all I want. I want one amazing litter. I keep the best one. I sell the rest to people mostly as pets. I don't even like selling to breeders because I want the animals to have more. Over the years of keeping snakes, I've wanted them to have better lives, to go to better homes. So I haven't been pushing my animals on people, and I haven't been trying to breed as much as I can. I've been trying to scale back. Slowly, I'm trying to sell off at least half my animals, but I'm not just going to go and sell them for nothing so that people can take them and breed them, and it continues the cycle of neglect for these animals. Over the past decade, I've developed a much larger conscience towards the care of these animals, and I'm disappointed in myself for not being able to give them more. And I want that for every snake that I sell. I want it to go to someone that's going to view it more like having a dog that is their pet, that they get to enjoy. I get a lot of pleasure out of getting people to think of reptiles like that. And I've sold to so many wonderful people that love their animals and view them like that, instead of just taking them and sticking them in drawers the same way I have. That's how I used to think. I used to think, let's just fill my room full of snakes. Let's put as many as I can in there. Now I'm prouder for every empty drawer I have. Every time I got another empty drawer, I'm like, yes, that's more space. And eventually I want to upgrade all my animals' homes, all the animals that I have. I want them in bigger, better homes. And that means I'll be producing even less. 2 years of breeding thrown in the toilet because of this snake, Nico, this cursed IMG Moonglow. From the normal litter, I have a Sunglow that looks IMG. So let's show you, why not? So from the first litter, I have this snake. This snake looks IMG to me, a bit, but it's not. So this is from the first litter, and this one looks the most IMG to me, but still it doesn't, like, I'm not sure. When you look at his head, he doesn't have that IMG kind of head stamp. So, and he could be a super. So he still looks awesome, but is he an IMG? I don't know. And this Sunglow looks, it does look IMG, I think. But it doesn't have that head stamp. Like you see, it has like the pattern, and the sides look red. Out of like 30 snakes, I have one that I'm almost sure is IMG. So I do think that it is IMG, but then I'm not 100% sure. And no one has looked at them and been like, that's IMG for sure. When I've posted in the groups, they just, you know, oh, you don't got any IMGs or whatever. And it's fine if it's not. It's fine if it is. Like, at this point, like, years have gone by, and this investment snake has been just a nightmare for my projects and everything. It's really kind of turned me off the whole IMG albinos. So because of that, I ordered a hypo IMG from Crisp Constrictors. So I imported, I saw this IMG and he was just gorgeous. So I imported him from a guy named Bradley Crisp. Now when I was doing this, first we tried to go with Ashley Dizan of Northern Lights Exotics. Ashley just kind of ghosted us. I think that Ashley hates me because she doesn't like the way that I do things. Once again, another person that's never really like hung out or got to know me, just kind of seen me maybe feed a snake with a drone or by my mouth or something like that, and then just auto-hated me and says lots of mean things about me, curses at me online, that kind of stuff. Okay, you don't like me, that's fine, you're allowed to not like me. This is also someone that is constantly importing wild animals. So Ashley herself has taken in wild, rare snakes, tried to keep them, and had them die on her. Do I look at her and be like, you're a terrible person for taking animals from the wild and then killing them? Like, no. It sucks, and wouldn't we all like to have snakes that look like dragons? But, you know, if they don't do well in captivity, they don't do well in captivity. My point is just that it's just like, I don't know why we like to point fingers at each other, because no one is innocent. Everyone's done something wrong, and most keepers make mistakes. Me feeding a snake with a drone, I don't think is a mistake. Me feeding a snake from my mouth, it might gross you out, but I also can do this. Notice that it's not in my mouth. So when I have fed snakes, I've put the mice in between my lips and fed them. And people have made like, oh, look, you stuck the rat's ding-dong in your mouth. Oh, you're going to get all sorts of diseases and whatever and all that. Like, but it's just, I didn't actually stick the animal inside my mouth. But I didn't feel that I had to make videos explaining all that to people either. Let people think what they think. I don't really care. And I brought Bond from the UK, and he's an IMG, a hypo IMG. So now I got another IMG just in case this Moonglow IMG doesn't turn out to be IMG or something. I put Nico for sale. First I told Coldy, like, look, I'm not really that impressed. You sold me the snake and now you can't even like identify anything as really being IMG, and nobody says that it is. People working with IMGs are looking at them and scratching their head. So I basically put Nico for sale. And I sold Nico to a lovely guy named Alex. And Alex loved him. And when I sold Nico, he seemed totally fine. He was eating fine. And all of my snakes are perfectly fine. They're eating properly. They're healthy. They're lean. I keep my snakes leaner than most breeders. I think that it's in the wild, the snakes are leaner. They don't eat as much, so I feed them like every 3 weeks, an appropriate meal. The only time that I feed them more is when I'm trying to get them to breed. I don't drop temperatures, I use feeding cycles. I'm not gonna go through my breeding, I have a video on my breeding, but basically I'll pump up the females full of food if I'm trying to breed them, because the way that it works is when the females want to make babies, they'll eat a lot more and then they'll start producing follicles. And it's just, there's like a natural cycle that they go through, and as you watch them and work with them, you can just grow your snakes and you can kind of tell when they're ready to start breeding, because the female will get more hungry. Whereas the way that lots of people keep them, they just pump them full of food, get them as big as they can, as fast as they can. And to me, I have no desire to do that. It costs more, there's more poop to clean, and I'm cleaning poop all the time anyways. And it's just, I'd rather just take my time. I've never been in a rush to breed anything. I've always just been like, I'm gonna care for the animal, I'm gonna take care of it, I'm gonna clean it, I'm just gonna have it kind of as my friend. And then if I want to get it to breed, I'm gonna put it through that feeding cycle. I'm not even gonna do that until I see it starting to change, because I see their personalities change. I see the females start getting a little bit more hungry, wanting to eat more. It's like, okay, you want to make babies, let's do it. And I'm also very selective about the animals that I put together. But when I did get Nico, I wanted to put him to everything. He was like my golden cow or whatever. My golden cow. Now it starts getting fun.